Alright, so here it is, the Phase Runner by Grin Technologies. Straight away, the first thing that you notice is how compact this actually is. I mean, you can see my hand as reference next to the unit, and it's just tiny. Not sure how they do it, but they've done it. It's a solid block of resin, just real robust. The way that Grin makes all their products, it seems like, just real solid. I believe this comes with a 3-year warranty, like the Cycle Analyst and the Grin controllers and all the other stuff that comes out of Grin Technologies comes with a 3-year warranty, so that's very excellent. Let's take a look at these connectors here. So the Phase Runner comes with, here's the 3 phase wires. Here you have the Hall sensor connector. Over here you have what looks like the power wires, and there's 2 sets coming out. I'm not exactly sure why. It looks like 1 gauge wire is thicker than the other, so perhaps for different application, maybe even multiple motor output is possible with this. So that's that. You have your Cycle Analyst direct plug-in module here, and if you guys are interested in a Cycle Analyst overview video, I'll probably do one of those too. One of the most useful tools for any electric vehicle, e-bikes included. So I myself, I run the version 3 on my custom cyclone build, and a lot of my friends also use the Cycle Analyst for various metrics and just to interface their whole system. And then lastly, you have the throttle input, which you may or may not need to use based on whether or not you're plugging into the Cycle Analyst, but it's there. So let's get this back into the field of view. And man, it's just a really good looking solid product. There seems to be a couple ports here on the back. Not exactly sure as far as what they do as of yet, but more on that later if I can find any additional information. And just going right off the website, the basic specs on this unit is there's an integrated on-off push button, so that must be this little guy here. On-off push button. There's a direct plug-in for both the version 2 and version 3 Cycle Analyst, which we talked about earlier. There's proportional regen. It works with censored and sensorless motors, even at very high RPMs. It's waterproof, 100% potted electronics, fully programmable, which is including the regen voltage, the max phase, the battery currents, etc. Field weakening, which allows you to run the motor at a higher speed than it normally could. High motor efficiency at low speeds and at very high torque. It's got the torque-based throttle. So this must be where this direct throttle plug-in comes into play. Is it does have a what says here, a torque-based throttle command. So it must have to do with when you're running a lot of power, to be able to fine-tune the feeling of your throttle so it doesn't buck you or it's not jerky, things like that. The voltage range is anywhere from 20 volts to 90 volts. So I assume most people who run this controller will be running it at very high voltage, maybe 72, 84 fully charged. There's also automatic thermal rollback, so the controller will basically protect itself if it's ever in a danger zone where you're running it too hard. It'll basically throttle back itself, so it'll keep everything in the safe zone. And let's go over to some additional information. So one other interesting thing about this controller is it's actually capable of 90 amps peak, which means that if you've got this thing maxed out, 90 volts, 90 amps, you're looking at about 8,000 watts or so of power, which is just, it's like an electric motorcycle basically. Again, this is going on a Cyclone build, full suspension mountain bike. So it won't be running it nearly at that amount of power, but it is capable. So it's very cool that it's able to handle that much power. So yeah, that's it for now. The Phase Runner by Grin Technologies.